Yo, what's good, everybody? Welcome back to Just a Dude in the News, the newsy side of Just a Dude podcast. I'm your host, Nathan, just a regular guy trying to make sense of the wild world out there. It's April 18th, 2025, and man, this week's been a roller coaster. Tariffs, tech troubles, and some heavy legal stuff. We've got the top 10 stories from the U.S. over the last week, from April 11th to today. So grab a coffee, kick back, and let's dive into what's been shaken. No fluff. Just the real stuff. Here we go. All right, first up, let's talk about the big economic buzz, President Trump's tariffs. These things have been dominating headlines, and for good reason. On April 2nd, the White House dropped what they called Liberation Day, announcing hefty tariffs including 125% on Chinese imports and 10% on over 75 other countries for a 90-day period. It's a bold move to boost U.S. manufacturing, but it's got everyone from Wall Street to your local auto dealer sweating. The World Trade Organization is sounding alarms as well, saying trade between the U.S. and China could plummet by 81% this year, which they're calling a decoupling. Global GDP growth forecasts got slashed from 2.8% to 2.2% for 2025 because of this. Meanwhile, China is looking to redirect its exports elsewhere, expecting a 4 to 9% bump in trade with non-North American markets. It's like a global game of economic chess, and the U.S. is playing hardball. On the home front, consumers are feeling the pinch already. Companies like Shine and Temu, known for dirt-cheap goods, are hiking prices starting April 25th after Trump closed an import loophole. At the New York International Auto Show, tariffs were the talk of the town, with car makers like Ford warning of price hikes if these policies stick. Americans are reportedly splurging now, trying to stock up before costs climb higher. The debate's heated, man. Some say tariffs will bring jobs back to the U.S., but others, including Trump's own advisors, warned weeks ago that this could tank global markets, or even spark a recession. J.P. Morgan's CEO, Jamie Dimon, called a recession a likely outcome on April 9th. It's a gamble, and we're all waiting to see how it plays out. What do you think? Is this good for America or a recipe for chaos? Hit me up on X and let me know. Next up, some serious drama at the Pentagon. 3 high-ranking officials, Dan Caldwell, Darren Selnick, and Colin Carroll, got put on administrative leave this week over a leak investigation. These guys are no small fries. They're top advisors to Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth and his deputy. The Trump administration's cracking down hard on unauthorized disclosures of classified info, and this move's got D.C. buzzing. The leaks reportedly involve sensitive national security stuff, though exact details are, unsurprisingly, under wraps. What we do know is the Pentagon's taking a zero-tolerance stance. This comes at a time when trust in government institutions are shaky, and the administration's sending a clear message. Leak, and you're out, no matter how high up you are. It's a bold flex, but it's raising questions about internal loyalty and oversight. This isn't just a D.C. insider story either. It's got broader vibes. National security is always a hot-button issue, but with tensions high over things like U.S. and China trade and Middle East conflicts, any breach could have big ripple effects. Some folks on X are saying this shows Trump's team is serious about discipline, while others think it's a sign of chaos in the ranks. Either way, it is a mess. For now, the investigation's ongoing and these aides are sidelined. Will more heads roll? Could this expose bigger vulnerabilities? We'll keep an eye on it, but one thing's clear. In 2025, the Pentagon's not playing games. Stay tuned, because this one's got layers. All right, let's get into something heavy. Trump's deportation proposals. The administration's floating a plan to deport some U.S. citizens involved in criminal activity to El Salvador's prisons. Yeah, you heard that right, U.S. citizens. Trump met with El Salvador's president on April 14th to hash this out, but it's got civil rights groups and legal scholars freaking out. The idea is rooted in Trump's tough-on-crime stance, aiming to send messages to gangs and cartels. But here's the rub. Deporting citizens is a constitutional gray area, and many say it's flat-out unconstitutional. A federal judge even warned Trump officials they could face criminal contempt over related deportation moves. Meanwhile, Senator Chris Van Hollen got blocked from visiting deported Maryland resident in El Salvador, raising red flags about transparency. Another part of this is El Salvador, and Congress in the United States does not have any business telling El Salvador what to do, as it's not the United States. This story is blowing up because it ties into broader immigration debates. Foreign students are also fighting in court as Trump ends their legal status, adding fuel to the fire. On social media, some folks are cheering this hard-line approach, saying it'll deter crime. Others call it a dangerous overreach that could erode citizenship rights. It's polarizing as hell, and the stakes are high. Where's this headed? Legal challenges are piling up, and public opinion's split. If this moves forward, it could reshape immigration policy and citizenship law in ways we haven't seen before. For now, it's a legal and ethical minefield, and we're all watching to see what sticks. Back to the tariff saga, but this time it's about big tech. Companies like Apple, Nvidia, and Tesla are caught in a whirlwind of uncertainty over Trump's tariff exemptions. On April 14th, Trump said some electronics would get a pass to protect the U.S. economy, sending tech stocks soaring through the roof. But the details are murky, and Silicon Valley's scrambling to figure out what's exempt and what's not. The tariffs are hitting hard on companies with overseas manufacturing, like Apple's operations in China and Tesla's Cybercab parts. Tesla's already warning of production disruptions, and Ford's talking about price hikes if auto tariffs don't ease up. ASML, a major chip equipment supplier, said tariffs are clouding its 2025 to 2026 outlook, even as AI demand keeps them afloat. It's a high-stakes game for tech giants. This matters to us regular folks, too. Higher costs for phones, cars, or laptops could hit our wallet. Plus, the stock market's been a roller coaster. On April 9th, the Dow jumped 3,000 points when tariffs paused, but by April 16th, stocks tanked as Fed Chair Jerome Powell weighed in on trade tensions. Social media users are split. Some say tariffs protect American jobs, others think they're killing innovation. The tech world's holding its breath for clearer rules. Will exemptions stick, or are we looking at a full-on trade war? Either way, it's a reminder of how global supply chains tie us all together. Keep an eye on your tech purchases, because prices might be climbing soon. All right, let's shift gears to a domestic fight. Social Security. Former President Joe Biden made his first big speech since leaving office on April 15th, slamming Trump's cuts to the Social Security Administration. Trump's team is slashing agency staff and closing offices, which Biden says threatens the program's future. This is a big deal for millions of Americans. Biden's framing this as a betrayal of retirees and workers who've paid into the system their whole lives. The cuts are part of Trump's broader push to streamline government, but critics argue they'll lead to longer wait times and even worse service. With an aging population, Social Security's already under strain, and this move's got folks worried about benefits down the road. On social media, it's definitely a heated debate. Some say the cuts are necessary to curb bloated bureaucracy. I agree with that. While others are rallying behind Biden, calling it an attack on the safety net. The numbers are stark. Social Security supports over 70 million Americans, and any disruption could hit hard. This story is personal for a lot of us, with parents or grandparents relying on it. What's next? Congress might step in, but with the partisan gridlock, don't hold your breath. Biden's trying to keep the pressure on, but Trump's team shows no signs of backing down. If you've got thoughts on this, hit me up. I know it's hitting close to home for a lot of us, and I'd love to hear your opinions. Let's keep this conversation going. Now for a tragic story out of Colorado. Nicholas Jordan was convicted this week of 2 counts of first-degree murder for the February 2024 shooting deaths of Samuel Knopp and Celie Montgomery at the University of Colorado, Colorado Springs. On April 16th, he got 2 consecutive life sentences without parole. This is heavy stuff. The shooting happened in a dorm room, shaking the UCCS community to its core. Knopp was a student and Montgomery was a local resident. The trial revealed Jordan knew the victims, though motives are still murky. Some reports suggest a personal dispute. The jury didn't take long to convict, reflecting the strength of the evidence in this case. This hits hard because campus safety is a real concern for many Americans. Gun violence in schools has been a recurring nightmare, and stories like this bring it back to the forefront. Some show an outpouring of grief for the victims' families alongside frustration over how to prevent these tragedies. It's a raw emotional topic for a lot of folks. Jordan's locked away for life, but the bigger questions linger. How do we keep campuses safe? What's driving these attacks of violence? And the USCCS community is starting to heal, but it's a long road. If this story's got you thinking, drop a comment. Let's all talk about some solutions here. All right, let's lighten it up a bit. Well, kind of. On April 16th, Zoom went down for tens of thousands of users across the United States. messing up meetings, classes, and probably a few virtual happy hours. If you were stuck staring at a loading screen, you weren't alone. This outage was a big deal for our remote work world. Reports say the crash hit hard during peak hours, with users unable to host or join calls. Zoom's team scrambled to fix it, but it took hours to get back online. For a platform that's basically the backbone of hybrid work and online learning, this was a wake-up call about how much we rely on tech. Social media was lit up with memes and complaints. Y'all are savage when Zoom fails. Why is this a top story? It's not just about one bad day for Zoom. It highlights how fragile our digital infrastructure can be. With more companies leaning on remote work, a hiccup like this costs them time and money. Some folks are even questioning if Zoom is ready for the long haul as competition like Teams heats up. By April 17th, Zoom was back, and they've promised to beef up their systems. But it's got us thinking, what happens if bigger tech fails? If you got stuck in the outage, let me know how it went down for you. I bet there's some funny stories out there. Here's a story that's been flying under the radar but hits hard. In the U.S., over 100,000 people are waiting for life-saving organ transplants. But a shocking stat came out this week. 1 in 5 donated organs went to waste last year. That's right. 20% of organs that could have saved lives got discarded. It's a gut punch. The reasons are complex. There's logistic issues, strict regulations, and sometimes organs just aren't a match. But with transplant demand at record highs, this waste is sparking outrage. Families of donors are especially upset, feeling their loved ones' sacrifices aren't being honored. People are calling for reform, and it's hard to argue with them. Hospitals and transplant networks are under scrutiny to fix this. Some say tech like AI could help match organs faster, while others want looser rules to get more organs used. The stakes are high, life or death. Every wasted organ is a missed chance for someone on that wait list. It's a system that's saving lives, but it's falling short. Lawmakers might take this up, but change takes time. And patients cannot wait forever. This story is a reminder of how broken parts of our healthcare system are. If you've got ideas on fixing this, hit me up. I'm all ears. Back to D.C. for some legal intrigue. Ed Martin, Trump's pick for U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia, is under fire for making over 150 appearances on Russian state media like RT and Sputnik from 2016 to 2024. He didn't disclose this during his Senate nomination process, and now folks are raising national security concerns. The State Department calls these outlets Russian propaganda arms, so Martin's ties are a big red flag. As U.S. Attorney, he'd handle major counterintelligence and security cases, so critics are questioning if he can be trusted. Some are calling it a vetting failure, while Trump supporters say it's overblown. Either way, it's a bad look. This matters because D.C.'s U.S. Attorney role is a powerhouse position, overseeing cases that can involve foreign interference. If Martin's confirmed, he'll face intense scrutiny. If not, it's another hiccup for Trump's team as they try to fill key posts. The Senate's digging into this now, and it's anyone's guess how it'll shake out. For now, Martin's nomination is a lightning rod. Will he squeak through, or is this a deal breaker? Drop your take on this. I'm curious what you think about foreign media ties and high-stake roles like this. Hit me up on email or social media. Finally, wrapping up with a wild one from Pennsylvania. A suspect in an arson attack on the governor's mansion confessed this week, saying their motive was anger over the treatment of Palestinians. Governor Josh Shapiro, a Jewish Democrat who supports two-state solutions, wasn't harmed, but the incidents got everyone on edge. The fire caused significant damage, though details on the extent are still coming out. Police are investigating it as a hate-driven act, given the state of motive from the suspect. This comes amid heightened tensions over U.S. foreign policy in the Middle East, with protests and incidents popping up nationwide. It's a stark reminder of how global issues can hit close to home. Shapiro's been vocal about condemning hate crimes, and this incident's likely to amplify those calls. There's sympathy for the governor, but also debate over how to address politically motivated violence. Some say it's a one-off. Others worry it's part of a bigger trend. Either way, it's unsettling. The suspect's in custody now, and the investigation's ongoing. This story is a sobering end to our list, showing how divided things feel in this country right now. Let's hope for some calm and accountability as this plays out. Stay safe out there, y'all. And that's a wrap on this week's episode of Just a Dude in the News. From tariffs to tragedies, it's been a lot to unpack, but that's why we're here. Just a dude breaking it down for you. If any of these stories hit home or got you fired up, jump on social media and let me know what's on your mind. Big thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts so you don't miss that next episode of Just a Dude Podcast. Until then, stay curious, stay chill, and I'll catch you next time.